last night was a Tuesday evening, and every Tuesday, most Tuesday evenings, Glenn and I meet with our Noticing Ninjas group, which is a group that has been meeting for almost 2 years at this point, which is super cool. It's a group that came out of a class that we were in a couple of years ago, and the class itself took place on Wednesday nights, so it was something that I couldn't attend. But because both Glenn and I were really interested in attending it, then our friend who was facilitating the class said, well, look, pick an evening where you guys have some time, and then I'll do an hour where we can have a discussion group on what's happening. So you guys will be like half a week behind, but at least you'll be in the class, because if you want to take it, I really want to offer an opportunity for you guys to be part of it. And so the people who attended that Monday night group, which now switched to Tuesday nights, we're still getting together, almost 2 years after this class finished, which is so cool, because it's just turned out to be this really, really loving, warm, heartfelt support group to remind us all of who and what we are, and to encourage us all to really not just pay attention to that, but show up more as that, no matter what is going on in our lives. And so yesterday, the question that came up at the beginning of our call was, what's one thing you know now that you didn't know 1 year ago? And for me, the thing that came up almost right away was how important, how essential, and how vital it is to be in the body, to honor what is happening in the body, and to really, really use nervous system regulation as a way of being able to expand and grow and feel safe that it's okay to do so. And so we had a really good conversation about this, and I thought this is something that really ties in nicely with the stuff I was reading in David Hawkins' book, Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender, one of my favorite books ever, in the chapter on peace. And so in that chapter, he writes, in peace, there is no longer any conflict. There is total absence of negativity and an all-encompassing lovingness that is experienced as serenity, tranquility, timelessness, completion, fulfillment, stillness, and contentment. There is inner quiet and light, a feeling of oneness, unity, and total freedom. And so when I saw this, I read this and I just felt it. Like, it's almost like when you read that book, when you look at his map of consciousness, as you move from level to level to level, if you really pay attention and open up to what it is that you're reading and taking in, you can really feel the power, just like, up-leveling every single time. And that power is within us, right? But I read this and I thought, even though this sounds amazing and I can open up to that, again, I just really had to sort of go, have I ever really experienced that? Truly 100%. Probably fleeting moments here and there. But even on the map of consciousness, peace is the second highest level. And he's saying, or David Hawkins says, that most people hover maybe close to the love part, but not even quite there. So here, because everyone who is coming here is in some way super conscious and intentional about their spiritual evolution to some degree, then we are alive and awake and aware enough to be vibrating at a higher level than maybe, the average person. But peace, it's still way up there, right? And so in his book, and on the map of consciousness, he writes that for the level of peace, which is the second highest level, the God view is about being. It's just all being. That's it. You don't have to remember. You don't have to look for something. You don't have to try. It's just about being, which is kind of reminiscent of what Rupert Spira talks about, right? No having to become, just be. The life view, life is perfect. The frequency on his map of consciousness resonating in the 600s, the emotion that is felt is bliss, and the process is illumination. And so he writes, though available to all of us, the state of peace is reached by very few people. The inner experience of most people is marked by constant stress. Most of the stress that results in emotional and physical disorders in our society is psychological in origin. And the whole premise of his book, Letting Go, the Pathway of Surrender, is get to the emotion that is at the base of whatever it is that you are experiencing. And once you get to that emotion and you become aware of it, it no longer has any power over you. It doesn't have to try and get your attention by manifesting and demonstrating in all of these different ways of like being tired or feeling sick or having some life-threatening disease or getting into a collision at the end of June, literally hitting a stone wall with your truck. Hello, that's what I did. There's all sorts of different things, all sorts of different ways that our body, that our feelings, that our psyche tries to get our attention when we suppress and repress feelings. And if we don't pay attention, they're just going to keep giving us opportunities to be reminded and awakened until we finally wake up. And when we let go of those feelings, any thought, any experience, any story, anything that came from that feeling, it just releases back into no-thingness because it doesn't matter anymore. He says the psychological programming in our society is so extensive that for most people, even relaxing and enjoying a vacation is a problem. I'm guilty of that. Guilt, I should actually be doing something right now. I should be spending my time more wisely. Feeling like a failure. Oh my God, why can't I relax, right? So when stressed, energy flow is hindered. It is blocked. And so we need to surrender. We need to let go. But how? Well, this is where, for me, this entire last year, nervous system regulation really, really came into play. And it was really interesting for me because I worked in a chiropractic clinic as a chiropractic assistant for 3.5 years before coming here to be the spiritual director. But it wasn't until my husband Glenn and I went into this relaxed money program, this year-long program that we're in, where it's all about nervous system and money. And in order to expand beyond our comfort zone, in order to really, really lean into the new and the unknown, we need to know that it's safe to do so. Because if the body feels threatened, if the psyche feels threatened, if the ego feels threatened in any way, and it will when it doesn't know what's going to happen, then guess what? It's either going to be super challenging or feel impossible to grow, or if we grow, to stay there rather than bounce right back to where we were just a second ago. So there are these tools to help us regulate our nervous system so that we can signal the body and let the body know what you're feeling is okay, you're not going to die, and it's safe to grow. It's safe to not know what the next thing is that is going to happen. And so this has been a huge practice for me this entire year, not just in this course, but it's made its way into every single aspect of my life, big time post-collision, because I felt like I was losing my mind with the concussion that I was experiencing. And so there were so many days where I was weeping and crying uncontrollably, where I felt completely depressed, knowing intellectually that there are insights and lessons that are going to be revealed at some point, but right now, oh my God, I don't even know how to get through this. So I got to, if I had two hands, I'd be showing you, I got to regulate my nervous system. I got to let my body know that it's okay to feel like I'm falling apart. It's okay to not know what's going to happen. It's okay to not know how long this is going to last. It's okay to just be present with what is. And that was like a huge lesson for me. Because in all of my years of consciousness studies, it was all about using the mind to expand, meditating, visioning, opening up to the infinite possibilities, the infinite potentiality of the quantum field. Well, that's great. But if your psyche and your ego is like, that's a threat, then it's going to be really challenging. It's going to be really hard. And then it's going to be so frustrating because you're like, I'm using my mind to do the things the way that I'm supposed to be doing them, but it's not working. So what's the problem? Well, there's these feelings, there's these stories, there's these experiences that are trapped in our body. And until we're able to truly let them go, it's going to be pretty challenging to experience something like inner peace. So the title of my talk today is Surrendering into Peace. And when I saw this picture, it made me laugh and warmed my heart. I'm not even sure what kind of animal that is. Sloth? But it looked so peaceful to me. Just like not a care in the world. I don't know if it's smiling, but it looks like it's smiling. So super chill, super slow, super relaxed, really cuddly and in real life as well. And so, yay, this made me happy and made me laugh. And I thought, I bet it's going to make some people at Elevate happy as well. So, Surrendering into Peace is the title of my talk, because in order to feel inner peace, in order to experience inner peace, in order to be able to choose inner peace, we need to feel okay to be able to do so. And so it is all about first letting go of whatever it is that is stuck in our body that is preventing us from expanding into a greater expression of who and what we are. So, just a little story. When I was contracted to work here 2+ years ago, this community, this organization, which is over 100 years old, it's been around for over a century. This community was on the verge of closing down. And so the reason that they wanted someone to come in was to revive it, was to enliven it, was to make it more relevant, make it more dynamic, so that it could grow and so that it didn't have to close down. So that the legacy of the people that had worked so many decades to keep it going, the legacy of Emma Smiley, who was the founder of it in the 1930s, that all of that could still keep on going. Well, imagine that for a brand new ministerial graduate just out of ministerial school. Yay for a project, but also an enormous amount of pressure. Because I got to tell you, I don't want to be the reason that this place closes down, right? So it occurred to me as, the last 2+ years unfolded with all of the stuff that we were trying, with all of the stuff that we were introducing, all of the different ways that we were opening the doors to community to really, really bring new life into this community. Because even though the community has been here for about 10 years, this is not the original building. The original grounds and buildings were at 1201 Fort Street, and they don't exist in that way anymore. I don't know if it's condos or stores there or something, but it's not there anymore. But the spirit, the energy, the consciousness of this organization still exists. And it has evolved over the years, and yet there's stuff in the consciousness that is still stuck. Right? And so even in the consciousness of this community, there is stuff that we want to be able to let go of. We want to be able to release so that we really can grow, so that we can evolve, so that we can have 60 people here at Elevate on a Wednesday night instead of maybe like 8 to 15, It's been 2 years, and there's been a lot of people who have come through our doors. There is this incredible energy. There is such amazing music. And when people come and pay attention, like everyone here is tonight, it's magic. And this is why we come. We come to experience that magic. We come to be reminded that that magic exists in us. And so no matter how we show up, no matter how tired or cranky or frustrated or irritated or, oh my God, it's pouring rain, I really don't want to go, we show up and then we walk out that door feeling better. We walk out that door feeling uplifted. We feel more connected. We feel like we belong or a part of a community. And that's why we do this, because it's so worth it. And that in and of itself is us signaling safety to ourselves that it's okay to grow. It's okay to be part of something. There is support. There is love. There is encouragement here. And so what a gift and a blessing it is to be part of this community as we grow together. But we got to let go of the stuff that gets in the way of our energy flowing more freely. So David Hawkins also says, the more emotional pressure that is surrendered and let go, the less vulnerable we are to the stress response and stress-related diseases. So as we open ourselves up to feeling safe to expansion, as we expand a bit more and we're no longer as hung up on what is going on in the world and it affecting us, that's when we begin to experience that inner peace that he's talking about. The tranquility, timelessness, completion, blah, 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 contentment, the feeling of oneness, unity, and total freedom. No one is choosing for us. No one can live our life for us. We are the ones who are creating our experience every moment of every day. The lens through which we view the world, through which we receive the world, the thoughts, beliefs, the stories that we tell, that we hang on to. And we get to choose every moment of every day because it's a brand spanking new opportunity every moment. The universe reboots itself every moment, as do we, because we are part and parcel of that universe. So we get to choose something new. And so I'm inviting us all for this month especially, let's choose peace. Let's signal for ourselves, for each other, that it is safe. It is safe to feel the way we do, to show up the way that we show up, to experience whatever we're experiencing so that we can grow. And as we grow, let us let go of all the stuff that has kept us feeling stuck so that we can truly experience inner peace. So the one thing I know today that I didn't know 1 year ago, how vital it is to signal safety in the body, and that safety is what creates opportunity for inner peace. David Hawkins again, with the experience of inner peace comes great strength. An energy field of total peace is unassailable. The person who has found inner peace can no longer be intimidated, controlled, manipulated, or programmed. So my question to you is, for this week and going forward, but for this week specifically, until we meet again next week for the very last Elevate of 2025, what one daily practice are you willing to commit to in order to soften and signal safety to your body so that you can open up to a greater opportunity of experiencing inner peace? Thank you, and so it is.